Okay, I'm so excited to have everyone here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are super excited to have our second annual college planning workshop. Thank you everyone for joining us. We are so pumped. This is gonna be amazing. I'm gonna go over the agenda and then I'm gonna go over a couple of housekeeping rules. Please let me know if you cannot hear me, if you need me to turn up my volume, if you need me to speak slower, whatever it is, let me know now so that I can get the heads up. My students and staff know I love to talk. So once I get going, it's a little hard to stop. But hey, Valentina, we are super excited to have you all. So the agenda is as follows. We are now currently in the welcome. We're gonna have 2 breakout sessions today. Those sessions will include a wonderful panel full of esteemed panelists, which I am so excited about. They will be our first session. Our second part of today's workshop is going to be an Apply Texas creation, where we will get a chance to together walk through you creating, not applying, just creating your Apply Texas account. We're gonna have a student video from our class of 2019, an alum who is starting college in the fall this year to give some advice. We're gonna have some raffles. We know that's why you're here, part of our amazing speakers. We want you to be able to win some of these amazing prizes. And we're gonna have a couple of announcements. So a note, we will have live translations during our presentation to make sure that we give everyone access to be able to understand what's happening. So please be patient. When you hear the pauses, my colleagues, Mrs. Gudiel and Ms. Sandoval will be translating during that time. And in terms of Zoom etiquette, so you have to mute your mic. Whenever another presenter is speaking, please mute your mic. Turn your camera on so that we can see your lovely face. That would be amazing, especially since we have guests. Please rename yourself students so that you can be included in the raffle that will be taking place live during this presentation. And use the chat to raise your hand if you have questions. One of our colleagues online will be able to monitor the chat and answer your questions, especially if you have a question for our panelists. And please stay until the end of the presentation because the raffle is towards the end. So we did that there. Another thing that we like to say is for the students that have joined us before for presentations, Mamba mentality is our mantra this year. With everything going on, it's so important for us to stay the course. So I wanted to include this quote here. And if you don't know, for Kobe fans, although I wasn't a basketball fan, Mamba mentality was something that really resonated with me. So you'll see bits and pieces and sprinkles of that information throughout the presentation. And the quote says, it's a mantra or a lifestyle, essentially, a constant quest to find answers, an infinite curiosity to better yourself and to figure things out to be the best you can be. So today's the first day, students, that you get a chance to exhibit this Mamba mentality. This is the first event of the year. So you are already on that pathway. So kudos to you. So I'm gonna give this time for us to introduce my teammates. And this is, in terms of teammates, I mean the high school team. And my other colleagues that are on here, please make sure that you introduce yourself as well. I'm gonna have Mrs. Gudiel go first and then Ms. Sandoval. I want you to list your name and your role and maybe a fun fact about you, and I'll go last since everyone on here has heard me speak.
Hey everyone, so happy to see y'all. My name is Ms. Gudiel. I was raised in Texas, went to SMU for undergrad and for my master's degree, and I'm one of the college match counselors here and have the privilege to work with these 2 amazing ladies. Para mis papás, mi nombre es Ms. Gudiel. Crecí aquí en Dallas, asistí a SMU para hacer mi carrera, pero también regresé a SMU para hacer mi maestría. Entonces estoy muy privilegiada de trabajar con estas 2 señoras y estamos muy afortunados de verlos hoy.
Hi everybody, my name is Ms. Sandoval. I am also a college match counselor with Ms. Turner and Mrs. Gudiel. A little bit about myself. I was born in San Salvador, El Salvador, but I've grown up most of my life in Arlington, Texas. I went to TCU for undergrad, SMU for my master's. And a fun fact about me is I lived and studied abroad in South Korea for about 6 months. Buenas noches a nuestros padres que están en la llamada. Yo soy Ms. Sandoval, también trabajo a la par de Ms. Turner y Mrs. Gudiel. Nací en San Salvador, El Salvador, pero crecí la mayor parte de mi vida acá en Arlington, Texas. Estoy muy contenta de estar en esta llamada para ayudar a los estudiantes a que empiecen en el pie derecho este año, el último año escolar de la high school.
Thanks so much, team. Ms. Moore, would you like to come off mute and introduce yourself?
Yes, welcome everybody. Happy Monday. Great to see a lot of your faces and names. My name is Ariana Moore, KTC Director. Just really proud of the work that Ms. Turner, Ms. Gudiel, and Ms. Sandoval have put together for tonight. Thank you for our panelists for joining us. We're thankful you're here and appreciate you bringing your perspective of higher ed and recommendations for our students, especially now more than ever. So we appreciate you. And students, hope you take some time to really soak in a lot of the good information that's coming tonight. I'm excited for you all to be a part of this. Buenas noches a los que prefieren español. Mi nombre es Ariana Moore. Yo también soy inmigrante, nací en Colombia y vine a Dallas hace ya casi 20 años. Y estoy muy emocionada de darles la bienvenida hoy y de reconocer a nuestras super consejeras porque no pueden estar en mejores manos con la experiencia que ellas traen y la dedicación y el amor que ya tienen por las oportunidades que sus hijos puedan tener y ayudarlos a crecer, a llegar a esas experiencias. Así que espero que saquen todo el provecho de hoy y quiero también darle la bienvenida a nuestros invitados especiales que traen un conocimiento y una perspectiva única al trabajo. Gracias.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ms. Moore. Okay, so that is part of our team. We have some other teammates, but for time purposes, we're going to get right into it. So what you all have been waiting for. We are so excited for you to ask questions, to get your questions answered for our esteemed panelists. So before we do so, I'm going to go ahead and introduce everyone one by one. First up, we have Ms. Jackie Romero. I'm moving something out of the way, give me a second. Ms. Jackie Romero is the Assistant Director in the Office of Undergraduate Admission at Southern Methodist University. Obviously on the call, we have some alum that have attended. She serves on the Access, Equity, and Inclusion Committees, coordinates the Mustang Scholars Program, which is really good to know, and SMU Spring Entry Program. A fun fact about Jackie is that she's a Dallas native and a DISD alumni. She gets a chance to work and recruit students from Dallas County to help them with their application process, which is amazing. So if y'all can give some shine to Ms. Jackie Romero, that'd be great. Next up, we have Mr. Matthew Sanchez, who is a lifesaver who joined this at the last minute after me trying to frantically find someone from DCCCD, which is now known as Dallas College. So Mr. Sanchez, you have a place in my heart. His role, he is the Dean of Student Support Services, which is awesome. In terms of service, he currently serves as the Dean of Student Services and Enrollment Management with Dallas College Mountain View campus. And at Mountain View, he is also an adjunct instructor for college freshman seminar class, which is amazing. Fun fact, Matthew is a motivational speaker in his spare time and has delivered talks with new student orientations, various college athletic teams, and performed his first TED Talk in February 2020. Let's give some shine to Mr. Sanchez. Next up, we have Ms. Berenice Zuniga. Shout out to Berenice, I'm so excited. She is the coordinator of student affairs at the UNTD. In terms of service, her passion and dedication others led her to her current role, and she really helps students on campus in terms of involvement in organizations where she impacts them and helps them with their growth and development. A fun fact about Berenice is that during her undergraduate career, she had the opportunity to be the founding president for Sigma Lambda Gamma National Sorority Incorporated, which I know that Mrs. Gudiel is a member of. So shout out to Berenice. Last but certainly not least, Mr. Hugh Durham. He is the Director of Undergraduate Admissions at the Prairie View A&M University. He currently serves as the director. He has been in his role for approximately 2 years. He brings a wealth of experience working with motivated students who aspire to attain higher education at HBCUs. Fun fact about Mr. Durham, he's worked in admissions at Howard University and Georgetown University in DC and worked closely with KIPP schools in the greater DC area. Let's give Mr. Durham some shine. So excited. Okay, so the way this is going to work, now that we have met our speakers, what I'm going to do is stop sharing my screen for a bit so that we can see them and go to gallery view. I'm going to ask the question. So we have 30 minutes for this portion. We want to be able to make sure that we have time to ask all our questions. There are only 8 questions. So students, parents on the line, if you have questions, please feel free to be able to ask them. I will set a timer. Mrs. Sandoval will be monitoring the chat in case students don't want to come off mute, or parents, if you want to drop in a question, feel free. The way that this is going to work, I'm going to ask the question in the order however the panelists want to answer, they can, whoever comes off mute first. If the easiest way is, it could be for the introduction. So potentially the order can be SMU, Dallas College, UNTD, and PV. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So my first question for our lovely panelists is, what is your school looking for in an applicant? Many of our students on here are interested in your institutions, and they want to know, what is your school looking for in an applicant?
Para nuestros padres de familia, en este momento vamos a empezar a hacer las preguntas a los representantes universitarios que tenemos en la llamada. Tenemos representantes de SMU, UNT Dallas, Dallas College y Prairie View A&M. Entonces, Ms. Turner va a hacer las preguntas y cada quien va a tener su tiempo para contestar. La primera pregunta que hizo Ms. Turner para los representantes es, cuando ellos están revisando aplicaciones, ¿qué es lo que buscan en los estudiantes? Ya sea en el paquete de aplicación, ¿qué son las características o la información que ellos buscan?
Right, so I guess I'll start with SMU. So I would say for us, we do, so we're reviewing your academics, but we're also looking at everything else that's in your application, your resume, your essay, your recommendation letters, all of that. And I'd say the weight is probably like 60% academic, 40% everything else. Obviously, it's an academic institution, so make sure that you're successful once you come to SMU. So typically it's looking at your grades, but also looking at your curriculum, so what kind of classes you've been taking throughout your time in high school. We look at what your high school offers and what you've been taking, kind of assessing how much you've been challenging yourself that way. And then usually test scores are also part of the mix, but for the seniors who are applying for next year, a lot of universities are optional, so that would be as big of a component. So we'll be focusing a lot more on your grades and those challenging classes you've been taking. Obviously, your recommendation letters, what you've been involved in. And I think a lot of times students think they have to do a little bit of everything, but I think review applications to try to make a well-rounded class, bring in, you know, the engineering students, the artists, those like history geeks, or, you know, and make a well-rounded class that way. So don't feel like you have to do a little bit of everything. Just find the things that you're passionate about, and focus on developing those interests.
Thank you.
Do you want to translate that, or should I translate it?
You go ahead if you feel comfortable.
Answer. Okay. Lo que yo contesté sobre SMU, cuando nosotros estamos leyendo estudiantes, obviamente las calificaciones, las clases que han tomado en high school son una de las más importantes, porque queremos asegurarnos que los estudiantes están preparados para venir a nuestra universidad y poder tomar las clases y poder sacar buenas calificaciones en nuestra universidad también. Pero también vemos las otras partes de la aplicación, las cartas de recomendación, las cosas que los estudiantes han estado involucrados entre su tiempo en high school, y también sus ensayos. Ayuda a nosotros a formar una clase que trae estudiantes con muchos diferentes intereses. A veces los estudiantes piensan que tienen que hacer de todo, tienen que jugar deportes, tienen que hacer servicio comunitario, trabajar, tienen que tocar un instrumento, pero no es necesariamente. Si ellos encuentran la cosa que les interesa más y eso es a lo que quieren dedicar su tiempo, eso es perfecto para nosotros. Y así, cuando nosotros traemos a la universidad, vamos a traer a los ingenieros, a los artistas y a estudiantes con diferentes intereses. Así. Entonces, todas las partes de la aplicación son muy importantes cuando estamos leyendo.
Thank you, Jackie. Okay. Berenice, I think you are up next. Or was it Matthew? Did I skip over Matthew?
Yes.
I did. I am so sorry.
No, that's okay. As a matter of fact, I was gonna. Would it be better if all the 4 years go first, since they're
Yeah, that'd be
kind of
great.
related compared to Dallas College, which is a totally different type of. So yeah, I'll defer to the 4 years first, since there's a little bit they're looking for something different.
Awesome. Thank you. Great suggestion. Okay. Go ahead, Berenice.
Okay, awesome. So we also look at a variety of different things. We don't want to focus specifically on just your SAT scores, ACT scores, or your GPA. We also want to take in consideration all the extracurricular activities that our students have been working hard throughout their high school career. So whether that's sports, they were in student council, they participated in any type of organization. Similar to what Ms. Romero said, we look at the whole overall picture. We're not just gonna focus specifically on the GPA scores of our students. We are a very non-traditional campus, so we do have a lot of our young students straight out of high school, but we also have a lot of our older students who took some time off from high school and have now decided to come back onto campus. We also have a partnership with DCCD. So if they were in some type of early college high school program, they do have a little bit more of an automatic acceptance when it comes to UNT Dallas. It just depends on the type of program that they were in. But like Ms. Romero said, we like to look at the overall picture. Pretty much, what were you involved throughout high school? What is it that you want to go into when you're coming to UNT Dallas? And how is that background going to help you be successful at our campus? Leah, I think I can translate. Ok, para nuestros padres, similar a lo que dijo Ms. Romero, también nosotros nos enfocamos en todo lo que ha estado haciendo el estudiante durante la preparatoria, si es que ha estado involucrado en los deportes, en música, en cualquier otra organización relacionada aparte de los estudios en la escuela. Así que no nada más nos enfocamos en el grado total del estudiante ni las calificaciones de los exámenes estatales como el SAT o el ACT. Nos tratamos de basar técnicamente en todo lo que ha hecho el estudiante para ser un buen estudiante y tener no solamente buenos grados, pero tener una comunidad alrededor de él durante la preparatoria. Así que si tiene un resume, no sé cómo se dice en español, con diferentes cosas que ha hecho durante la preparatoria, es muy probable que lo aceptemos, pero también lo que mencioné es que UNT Dallas no es una escuela tradicional de 4 años, o no todos nuestros estudiantes son admitidos después de la preparatoria. Tenemos estudiantes que están en la edad de 18 a 24 años, pero también tenemos estudiantes que están de la edad de 24 años o mayor. So tenemos una población muy diferente y muy no tradicional comparado a las otras universidades de 4 años.
Thanks, Berenice. Okay, Mr. Hugh, last but not least for our 4-year voices.
All right, thank you once again. And for Prairie View A&M University, we are primarily an academic, right? We're an academic institution just like our other colleagues. But I will tell you that Prairie View, we're a little bit different in a sense that we look at a variety of factors in determining whether or not a student is the right fit for our institution. And I will tell you, when we look holistically at a student's body of work, of course, we're going to look at a GPA. We're going to look at an SAT or ACT score. We set some minimum benchmarks. But overall, we're looking for, our motto is Prairie View produces productive people. So we're looking for leaders. Our students have been in the forefront of getting equal voting rights in the city of Prairie View and the greater Prairie View area. In Waller County. So our students are leaders. They're exactly that. So we're going to look at the body of work in terms of what organizations have you been a part of, but more so what leadership positions have you held. Secondly, as far as test scores are important. Let me say this, mainly because of the simple fact that, you know, if you have an aspiration to become a doctor, okay, you can go to medical school, but you're going to have to pass step 1, step 2, step 3 of the USMLE, United States Medical Licensing Exam. If you want to become an attorney, we just have to get comfortable taking tests, because if you want to become an attorney, right, you're gonna have to sit for a bar. So test scores are important, but we place a little bit less emphasis on the test scores and a greater emphasis, and this is just my philosophy and how I've had to explain to my leadership, a GPA is gonna be the most telling tale for a student's acceptance in the Prairie View. Why a GPA? Because a GPA tells me a story about you without even having met you. It tells me a story about your grit. It tells me how hard you're willing to work. And you know what, class rank, I know a lot of institutions go, okay, you gotta be in the top 10%, you gotta be in the top 25%. Class rank is important, but more so, we wanna see you, because we understand that a lot of students do have some barriers where they're probably having to work. They're probably having to help support a family member and contribute to the household income. So if they're working every day after school, that's why that GPA kind of allows us to see a story about you. So when we look at a GPA, we're looking for students that have primarily in that B, C range average, primarily looking at a 2.8 GPA. Yes, we would love to have students with APs and classes, as well as students that are in an IB program, but not necessarily at the expense of the student having a 2.0. So if you're looking at, I think it's important to understand what school you want to apply to. If you're looking at an Ivy League institution, oh yeah, you're gonna have to have just about everything on there to be pretty much an AP course. You're gonna have to have done really well, straight A's. But for Prairie View, we are looking for leaders. We are looking for students that demonstrate the ability to be to succeed long-term academically, and that's the best indicator is GPA. Test score, minimum 800 SAT score, minimum 15 on the ACT, because we want students to be comfortable taking the test. But of course, an 800 and a 15 isn't exactly for a lot of students. It's attainable. But GPA is going to, once again, I can tell you, my philosophy is that GPA is going to be the best indicator of a student's success, because it tells me a story about your grit and your ability to really kind of hang in there when times are tough. So we don't need straight A's, but we do need you to show that you are determined.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hugh, for that. I'll do a quick translation. I took some notes. So, voy a hablar un poquito acerca de lo que acaba de decir Mr. Hugh. Él es nuevamente un representante de Prairie View A&M University. Él también, como los demás representantes, buscan diferentes factores en la aplicación de un estudiante. Sí se enfocan en los resultados de los exámenes nacionales, pero también se enfocan más un poquito en el GPA o en el puntaje acumulado que el estudiante tiene durante sus años en la preparatoria, y la razón por eso es porque ese número demuestra más una historia del estudiante, porque ha pasado 4 años acumulando esos puntos, sacando esas notas, comparado a un examen que solo lo hace un día y le dan el resultado. Él tampoco no quiere decir que los exámenes nacionales no son importantes, porque hay carreras que tienen que tomar exámenes más serios y más que aplican directamente a la profesión que los estudiantes quieren, pero en Prairie View A&M se enfocan más en el GPA cuando están viendo la aplicación. Él también dice que un lema que tiene la universidad es que Prairie View produce gente productiva, entonces buscan estudiantes que son líderes y que están involucrados en la high school donde han estado, para que apliquen esas mismas cualidades ya cuando estén en la universidad. And then the last thing, nuevamente, lo de las organizaciones. Si su estudiante ha estado involucrado en organizaciones en la high school, por favor que lo ponga en las aplicaciones ya cuando está aplicando, para que la persona que está revisando esa aplicación vea una foto completa o una historia completa del estudiante.
Thanks, Ms. Sandoval. Okay, last but not least, we get to hear from Dallas College for our 2-year students that are wanting to matriculate 2-year. Mr. Matthew Sanchez.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Ms. Turner, Ms. Guriel, Ms. Sandoval, Ms. Moore. Thank you very much to Kip for having us all here. I think this is a great thing to keep the students interested, to keep them engaged. That's what we really need them to get them there. So one quick note, Ms. Sandoval, just to let you know, my Spanish is not good or very good, so I'm going to go ahead and let you take notes, just giving you a heads up on that one. So we are completely different. Dallas College is a completely different school than the four-year institutions. We have what's called an open enrollment. So any applicant that applies to Dallas College can enter and begin Dallas College. Of course, with like the other institutions, we have requirements as far as high school transcripts and the documentation that we'll still need. However, we do not look at test scores. There's no minimum test score. There's no minimum GPA. Anybody can come to Dallas College. Also, for the parents that are listening, I do want you to know that we do have some really good GED classes, just in case for some of the parents maybe who haven't finished high school. We have some really good free GED classes that we offer at Mountain View College. So we're a college that really want, just like every other institution on this call, we all want to help everyone out there to get to their goals, whether they be academic goals, career goals, whatever that may be. We want to help them get there. I do want to note that as everyone said here, which I do think it's really great, all the way from SMU, Ms. Romero, thank you very much, all the way to Prairie View A&M, UNT Dallas. We work with all of them quite a bit. That's really neat. What I tell students is they're not sure the differences exactly, so they can start at the two-year school if they'd like to, if that's what they want to do, and then transfer to a university. What we kind of do, what Mr. Hugh was saying earlier, the looking for leaders and looking for people who are trying to build their resumes, so to speak, what Ms. Zuniga said earlier. We kind of help students start to develop those skill sets. We teach them in certain classes. The class that I teach them how to develop grit. You know, if you're not sure what grit is, what are some exercises that we can do, mental exercises that we can do every day to get us better, to go after those tests, to learn that, you know what, I do want to take a test. I don't have to take a test. I get to take this test so I can become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever the case may be. So the biggest difference here is that we are a complete open enrollment. Anybody who applies, you can come in, but we are looking for people. It's not that once you come in, that's it. We are looking for students who are looking to succeed, looking to engage outside of the classroom. I kind of tell students that it's, you know, we want to see you play hard in the classroom and play hard outside of the classroom. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Mr. Sanchez es el representante de Dallas College y unos puntos que él mencionó durante sus palabras es que la diferencia en la institución de él es que ellos tienen un sistema que se llama Open Enrollment, o podemos decirle como es una admisión abierta que muchos estudiantes pueden aplicar y normalmente son aceptados. También dijo un detalle importante, que si hay algún padre en la llamada o padre o madre de familia que está interesado en sacar su GED, la Dallas College ofrece clases gratis para que usted también pueda avanzar en eso si está interesado. Y también, él también quería decir que están buscando estudiantes que están queriendo no solamente mejorar su educación y salir adelante, pero también que tengan esas características que muchas de las otras universidades también están buscando, que tengan cualidades de liderazgo, que quieran mejorar, que quieran regresar a su comunidad o estar involucrados en su comunidad. Entonces, ellos sí tienen un sistema de admisión abierta, pero tampoco solo lo van a dejar que entre y ya estuvo, ya entró, y no quiere nada más. También quiere que el estudiante se involucre y esté no solamente presente en sus clases, pero también presente en el colegio y en la comunidad para que tenga una podemos decir, se me escapó la palabra, pero que puedan tener una experiencia más involucrada en la universidad, aparte de solo lo académico.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sandoval. Okay, so the good thing is we have a lot of questions, but not a lot of time. But what I think I'm going to do, I have about 2 to 3 more questions to ask our panelists that kind of encompass the other questions, a subset of questions that I had, because I want to make sure that we get a chance to have a little bit more time with them. So if everyone's okay with giving a little bit more time, please give me a thumbs up and we can continue with a couple more questions. Wonderful. I knew you would say that. Okay, great. So the same format that we had. My second question to ask everyone is, how do you support, as you know, for KIPP, if for those of you that don't know, we serve a lot of Black and brown students, a lot of first-gen students, a lot of students that are low income, and there's a weight on their shoulders, right, with this transition that they have. So my question to you all is, how do you support Black and brown students and or low income first generation students? What does your institution do to make the charge to be able to help them matriculate and persist?
Right, so to start off, with SMU, so it's a private university, so definitely the sticker price is one, and something that I think keeps a lot of students from even considering SMU, and that was my case as well. But a lot of the private universities, there's a lot of aid available from the university themselves. So you're applying, for aid through FAFSA, but there's also CSS Profile, which is for money coming from the university. And there's other programs like we have Mustang Scholars, which is one of the things I coordinate, and scholarships for students in Dallas County that have demonstrated needs. So if you're Pell Grant eligible, then you can apply for it, guarantee that your tuition and fees are met. And that's right now, that's like $59,000 a year at SMU. And so if you're a Mustang Scholar, then you don't have to worry about that cost. And then as a Mustang Scholar, you're part of different programs like Rotunda Scholars or Connect mentors, and that's for students of color or underrepresented students on campus, to immediately connect you to a community of similar students as yourself. And I was part of Rotunda Scholars, and that's where I met a lot of my friends, even before school started. A lot of other students from the Dallas area, similar, background, economics, and diversity as well, and kind of made my friends that way, find my little community where I got comfortable, and then was able to get involved with greater SMU community. So there's those few programs. Then we also recently started our First Generation initiative. So different resources for students who identify as first generation college students, some additional support, academic advising, things like that. There's going to be a lot of people throughout the university that, are here and ready to help you succeed and persist. But it's definitely going to be a little bit of a culture shock, and I'm not used to coming from, school like I did, where it was majority minority students. And so it's a little bit of a shift, but people that want you here and want to see you succeed. And then en español, uno de los recursos para estudiantes o estudiantes que tal vez necesitan más ayuda financiera. SMU es una escuela privada, entonces el costo es muy alto, pero hay bastante ayuda financiera a través de la universidad para ayudar a cortar el costo un poco, y tenemos programas como ayuda a cubrir el costo de tomar clases en la universidad, que ahorita son como $59,000 al año, pero los estudiantes que son seleccionados Scholars no tienen que pagar eso. También hay programas como Rotunda Scholars o Connect Mentors, que ayuda a los estudiantes en contacto con otros estudiantes que son, que vienen del mismo, como de, trying to say background, como son más parecidos a los estudiantes, ya sea de dónde son o si son hispanos o cualquier cosa así, conectar a estudiantes que puedes tal vez llevar mejor y que son más parecidos a ti. Y también hay estudiantes que son los primeros en su familia a ir a la universidad, y ayuda con para ayudar a escoger las clases que tomar, qué organizaciones involucrarse en la universidad y diferentes programas así.
So UT Dallas is a very affordable university. We are a public institution, so our tuition and fees are not as expensive as SMU, but we do offer a lot of freshman scholarships as well. So all the freshman scholarships are actually, you're automatically able to receive any of the freshman scholarships based on your admissions. So that's based on your SAT scores or your GPA, and they range completely. They're not all just for 4.0s or the highest SAT or ACT score. We do have a presidential scholars program, and this is application based. So even if you don't have the highest GPA, you can most definitely apply. This is a full ride scholarship. So you don't have to pay anything out of pocket. And it is for your 4 years on campus. UNT Dallas also offers something that is called a Focused Fixed Tuition Plan. So this means that if you are enrolled as a full-time student throughout every semester that you're at UNT Dallas, your tuition does not go up than what you initially started with. So if your first semester you enrolled in 15 credit hours, and for that semester and for the following semester you enrolled in 15 credit hours, and you're taking a total of 30 credit hours for that academic year, your tuition will be most likely at a $4,100, and it will not go up if you continue that for the next 3 years. So that's a very helpful tool that UNT Dallas has come up with. It makes sure that it's pretty tight, and we don't want to, keep adding fees. Obviously, fees go up every year, but if you enroll into the Focused Fixed Tuition Plan your first year, that's going to be your tuition for the remainder of your time at UNT Dallas. For my parents, en español, UNT Dallas tiene muchas oportunidades de scholarships, de becas para nuestros freshmen. So todos los estudiantes que están aplicando por primera vez a UNT Dallas son automáticamente puestos en estas aplicaciones para las becas de primerizos, y tienen muchas oportunidades. Creo son como 6 oportunidades de becas para los estudiantes de primer año. Aparte de eso está un programa que se llama Presidential Scholars Program. Este programa es por aplicación. Los estudiantes pueden aplicar, hacen una entrevista y de allí escogen a ciertos estudiantes, y esta beca es por 4 años y es totalmente la escuela y room and board pagados. O si se deciden quedarse en la universidad también está incluido. Nada del bolsillo de los padres o de los hijos. Es una muy buena aplicación para tener en cuenta. También lo que tiene la universidad es un programa que se llama Focused Fixed Tuition and Fees. Esto quiere decir que si el estudiante decide inscribirse en este programa, el costo de la universidad no va a subir para nada durante el tiempo que él esté en la Universidad de UNT Dallas. Lo único es que tiene que estar inscrito en las 5 clases por semestre o hacer las 30 horas en total, que es durante el año escolar. Si él decide hacer nada más 12 horas este semestre que viene, luego va a hacer las otras 12 el otro semestre. En el verano tiene que completar para hacer las 30 horas para que no suba nada el precio de la universidad. Pero en general la universidad tiene costos muy bajos. Creo que somos una de las universidades más, no sé cómo se diga, affordable, más, what's the word?
Económica.
Yes, económica, thank you. Más económica en la ciudad de Dallas. No somos privadas, somos pública, entonces eso nos ayuda mucho a poder tener nuestros precios a un precio que nos pueda ayudar a todos nosotros. Siendo generación primera, entiendo lo que es tener que pagar del bolsillo.
All right. Prairie View A&M, and when it comes to resources, and we are designated a historically Black and/or college or university. So primarily brown young ladies and young men, as well as a pretty large and thriving Hispanic population. this is what we do. We are about educating students that come from diverse backgrounds. You're going to be in an environment where teachers are going to look like you, your fellow classmates are going to look like you, and I think that's important because you all are on that same plight together. Secondly, because of the fact that we realize we serve a lot of populations which would be classified as underrepresented, we keep tuition really affordable. So when you talk about tuition, fees, you talk about housing and meals for an entire year, for all things that I just listed, you can pretty much stay under $10,000, which is great because when you do the FAFSA, when you do financial aid, you talk about the maximum and Pell Grant, it's almost $6,000 right there with a 0 EFC. Okay, you get your application in early for the priority financial awarding consideration, the Texas grant, that's $5,000. So right there between the Texas grant and the Pell Grant, you can actually have your tuition completely covered without any academic scholarship money. And that's great. If you get that, that just comes back in your pocket. That's just a refund. So it puts a lot of stress off of students and families in terms of trying to figure out how they're going to pay for their education. Furthermore, for students who may be undocumented or that may having issues, therefore applying for the FAFSA, we do accept the TASFA. So students can get aid from that as well. And then when you look at our scholarship programs, we have quite a few. One of them isn't actually classified as scholarship, but when we look at making sure that we give students the right resources to be successful, we have a program that almost 800 freshmen take advantage of. It's a summer experience where students can come in. We pay for, it's a separate application once you've been admitted, but we pay for up to 6 of your college level credits over the summer. We feed you and we house you, and it's completely free. You don't have to worry about a FAFSA. You don't have to worry about a FAFSA. It's completely free. So once again, that's allowing our students to get ahead before the semester even starts. So how great will it be for you to start your fall semester with a 4.0 because you participated in this program? Because anybody on this panel can tell you college is about starting off on a strong foundation. It is super hard to raise a GPA if you start off bad. But we all can attest that it is easier for you to walk in and know that, okay, I have a 4.0. I just completed 2 college level classes, and it's going to be about that momentum. It's so much easier to go in and say, okay, I'm going to be successful because I've already done it, and I've done it this summer, in which Prairie View has paid for it, and not to mention we paid for your housing and your meals. So now let's talk about scholarships. Well, we do realize that a lot of schools, when it comes to academic and merit-based scholarships, they're going to make you apply. It's a separate application. At Prairie View, no, we have about 100 scholarships that are going to cover 100% of your tuition, your fees, your room, your board, so your housing and your meals. And one of them even comes with a stipend of $600 per semester, $1,200 for an academic year. And all you have to do is apply to Prairie View before the priority deadline. So for the Regent Scholarship, that's our highest honor. That Regent Scholarship says if everything that I just mentioned, 100% tuition fees, room, board, housing, meals, and a $1,200 stipend, it just means you have to apply to Prairie View, have a 3.5 GPA in conjunction with a 26 on the ACT or a 1260 on the SAT between math and critical reading. All right. If you don't make it there, it's okay. We have our Presidential Scholar program. Our Presidential Scholar says, guess what? If you have at least a 3.25 GPA and a 24 on the ACT or an 1190 on the SAT, Prairie View is going to cover 100% of your tuition and your fees. So we've put a lot of things in place for, we realize that our students don't necessarily come from a legacy of mom went to college, grandparents went to college, and their grandparents went to college. We understand that our students are starting somewhat behind the 8 ball. We all have gone to different schools, and we all have not had the same, not had the same start. We've all started in different places, and our circumstances are therefore going to be a lot different. So I encourage you, when you look at applying to Prairie View A&M, the early bird gets the worm. The application just opened today. Don't wait till, oh, the application deadline is March. I'm going to apply in February. Okay, the things that I've mentioned, Texas grant, a lot of our institutional aid will not be there in February. It's given to the students who apply early because we figure that you're serious about our institution. So if you're serious about us, we're serious about you. And I will just end with that it's important to just continue to put your best foot forward regardless of the circumstances of what's going on in your life. We are here and we're not going to leave you. Well, you're going to be in an environment where faculty are going to know your name and they're going to ask why you're not there. They're going to say, hey, you didn't do so hot in this test. Let's talk. What can we do to get you to be successful in this class and therefore successful in college? So with that being said, Prairie View looks a lot like the demographics on this panel and the students in this chat. And I encourage you to seek more information about our institution, or I'll also provide my information if you want to ask me some more questions directly after this is concluded.
Voy a dar un corto resumen de lo que dijo Mr. Hugh. Entonces, Prairie View A&M es una universidad que es conocida como un HBCU, que significa Historically Black College or University. Básicamente es una universidad, un colegio que se enfoca en la comunidad afroamericana y la historia en esa comunidad. Entonces, varios de los estudiantes que asisten a esa universidad se identifican en esa universidad, pero también tienen una población grande de estudiantes hispanos. Entonces, ellos están muy cómodos trabajando con comunidades de color o estudiantes de color, y también tratan de mantener el costo bajo porque ellos entienden que, ya hablando en la historia de este país, el acceso a la universidad o la educación superior ha sido muy difícil para ciertos grupos. Entonces ellos mantienen los costos bajos para que los estudiantes de todas partes puedan aplicar. Una cosa que él reiteró varias veces es que la importancia de aplicar temprano, ya sea a la universidad o para la ayuda financiera, porque la gente que aplica temprano normalmente agarra los subsidios o las becas más rápido que los estudiantes que esperan hasta último minuto para aplicar. Entonces él aconseja que apliquen muy temprano. También ayudan con los estudiantes indocumentados. Si usted conoce un estudiante que no tiene documentos, ellos aceptan TASFA, que es la versión de PASFA para los estudiantes indocumentados. También tienen una experiencia de verano totalmente gratis si el estudiante ya ha sido aceptado en la universidad. Prairie View A&M cubre esa experiencia para que ellos puedan comenzar su primer año muy bien, ya hablando académicamente y hablando de ese puntaje que les mencionaba anteriormente, pero ya al nivel universitario, ya no hablando de la high school, sino el puntaje académico a nivel universitario. Pero sí, más que todo, apliquen temprano porque eso les va a beneficiar mucho.
Thank you, Leah. You're awesome.
Okay, so Dallas College is a completely different animal or beast, if you will, when it comes to the tuition and these sorts of things. Community college is historically more economical and more cost efficient for the student and their families. However, I did want to point out a couple of important things. One, when it comes to public colleges, whether they be 2-year institutions or 4-year institutions, where all of us are in an uphill battle. The more I just want to make this comment, but the more legislature kind of starts to take away funding from public universities, we have to still meet the needs of the students. And so our tuition starts to go up. And what we're trying to do is really make it more cost efficient for everyone. One way that Dallas College has responded to this is that included in our tuition, we are now having the majority. Right now, we're at about 80 to 85% of our textbooks are electronic. So those textbooks are actually included in the tuition. So we're trying to reduce the cost of the text that students have to get, which everyone who's been to college on this call knows that the texts sometimes are extremely expensive. And especially when you get a professor who has written the textbook for that class and they just want to change chapter 1 to chapter 7 and then have a new edition. But anyway, I'll go off that yes. Anyway, that's one thing that we've done. Another thing that we've done is we've partnered with lots of different institutions to try to help alleviate a lot of that tuition and that cost. So the textbooks, working with UNT Dallas, like Berenice said earlier, that a lot of our early college students, they're able to get to that school a lot simpler with some guaranteed funds. And then I know SMU has a couple of things that they work with Dallas County Community College. If a student wants to transfer, I think Prairie View has also a couple of other things if they want to transfer. So we're trying our best to find the partners. We understand a lot of the students who do come to Dallas College, their goal might be to do a 2-year degree and that's it. They want to get a welding certificate or they want to just get an HVAC certificate and move on. And that's great. And we can help them with that. We have another fund specifically at individual campuses called enterprise funds. And what we do is those are there specifically just to help with students. Once a semester, we will pay up to one class because they're having a hardship. So they just write an essay, tell us exactly what's going on. Depending on GPA and how well they're doing, the drop rate in their classes, will help pay for a class. We also partnered with a few organizations in the area that an app can actually, the student can download an app, and for once a year, they can get up to $500 to help pay for electric bills, to help pay for, a car payment. You can't get to work if you don't have a car sometimes. So we have all these different funds, and this isn't the cars. If you can't get to work, if you don't have a car, we also partner with DART, and that's not unique to Dallas College. I know lots of other institutions in the area partner with mass transit. And so take advantage. I think two things that I really wanted to share with the students. Take advantage, ask at your institution, wherever you decide to go. The 4 that are on this call are great institutions. Wherever you decide to go, ask, what can you do? What can you do to help me? What can you do? People want to help. That's what we get paid for. We're here to help you out. So ask. The second thing that I really wanted to touch on, I loved what Hugh said a while ago about, hey, get it done early. The application open now, get it done early. So many times I hear students, I've been in higher education for a little over 15 years. I always hear, when's the deadline for application? When's the deadline for this or for that? Stop asking that. I want you guys to start asking it this way. When is the soonest I can apply? When is the soonest I can submit my FAFSA? When is the soonest I can do this? That's what you want to start. And once you shift this small couple of words, you're going to start doing things and looking at things differently. Thank you.
Okay. Entonces, un poquito acerca de lo que acaba de decir el señor Sánchez. Él, como mencioné anteriormente, trabaja para un colegio comunitario. Entonces, normalmente los colegios comunitarios son más económicos y hay varios estudiantes que deciden ir a un colegio comunitario para ahorrar dinero. Entonces, pero él también dijo algo muy importante, que por veces hay cosas fuera del control del colegio que afecta cuánto cuesta la admisión o la matriculación a un colegio comunitario. Entonces, por veces reglas estatales afectan, pero ellos están haciendo todo lo posible para mantener el costo bajo. Entonces, un ejemplo que dio es que en el cobro para las clases que está haciendo el Dallas College, están incluyendo el costo de los libros. Entonces los estudiantes no se tienen que preocupar por andar comprando libros aparte, porque ya viene incluido en lo que ya están pagando desde el principio. Y también tienen diferentes fondos de empresa que ayudan a estudiantes que quizás están pasando un momento difícil o no tienen el dinero que pensaban tener para pagar para las clases. Entonces ellos pueden aprovechar de esas oportunidades para que se sientan más cómodos en los pagos que van a tener que hacer para sus clases. Entonces ellos tienen diferentes fondos disponibles para que su estudiante pueda seguir en sus clases. Y 2 puntos al final que él quiso que nos enfocáramos fue: el primero es que los estudiantes deben de tomar ventaja y hacer las preguntas a la gente que trabaja en la universidad, ya sea donde sea que vayan, ya sea privada, pública, colegio comunitario. Tomen notas, hagan preguntas y díganle que esta es mi situación, ¿qué pueden hacer para ayudarme? Ya cuando se trata de las becas o de las aplicaciones, en vez de preguntar cuándo es el último día para entregar las cosas, los estudiantes deben estar preguntando cuándo es el primer día que puedo entregar todo o cuál es la fecha más temprana que puedo entregar todo, y así cambia esa dinámica y el estudiante empieza a tomar control de la situación en vez de que la universidad ya a última hora le esté acordando, oh, se te olvidó llenar este documento o no entregaste esto. Entonces esos son los puntos que dijo el señor Sánchez.
Ms. Sandoval, you are amazing. Thank you so much for these amazing translations on the spot. Give her some shine, some love. Okay, so we have one final question, and we've heard some amazing advice and insight from our professionals. I want to make sure that we touch on virtual learning, you know, since we're in COVID, like what that's going to look like for our students that will be going to attend classes in the upcoming fall. So could you give us some insight on virtual versus in-person classes and programs and majors that most students tend to navigate towards? And any lasting advice that you want to give to our students and parents?
So virtual versus in-person at our universities, is that the question? Okay. So for us, next year, we're doing kind of a little bit of everything. So we will have in-person options for about 75% of our classes, but they are limited, so limited capacity to make sure that students are still, you know, within 6 feet from each other in the classroom. You will be required masks and all of that, but there will also be a online version of the same class. So if you don't feel comfortable being in the classroom, or you still, you know, have to take that class, you still have that option, even if the in-person capacity is met. So all classes will be recorded and you can attend at the same time as they're happening, even if you're not there in person. So students right now can pick whether they want to be fully online for the semester, whether they want to be in person, or whether they want to do a mix of both. And so kind of, you know, going with it as we learn more and figure stuff out. But there's thinking and planning that has gone into preparing for the semester just to make sure that our students will be but also have the options that are best for their learning. And then on the other side, one thing in terms of virtual opportunities, I think it's great that now we're all being forced to do a lot of virtual things, because now you all are able to, you know, sign up for information sessions about attend different virtual events. You know, if before you were thinking about a school in California, but you know, you don't have time or money to fly out there, you can now attend all their events because they're virtual. So take advantage of that now for these last few weeks of summer. My brother is a rising senior, so I told him that by the end of this week, he needs to sign up for virtual events at the universities that he's thinking about applying to. So take advantage of that part of this whole virtual world so that you can learn more about universities. And in Spanish, nosotros para este semestre que viene, las clases van a estar ofrecidas en persona, pero también todas van a ser grabadas y ofrecidas por internet también. Entonces, si un estudiante no se siente cómodo en asistir las clases en persona, no lo tiene que hacer, pero lo que hemos estado haciendo en planear para el semestre que viene es asegurarnos que los estudiantes vayan a estar seguros y healthy, que no se vayan a enfermar, estén en riesgo de enfermarse, pero que también tengan opciones para aprender en la manera que ellos se sienten más cómodos. Y una cosa que recomendé a los estudiantes es de tomar ventaja de todos los eventos virtuales que están pasando ahorita para que puedan aprender más sobre las universidades, porque todas las universidades están ofreciendo sesiones de información por internet a varias horas, o eventos que usualmente eran en persona, ahora son en internet. Entonces pueden asistir a esos eventos desde la comodidad de sus hogares, en una muy buena manera de aprender más sobre las universidades.
So UNT Dallas will mostly be virtual as well for the fall semester. The only classes that will be on campus are labs, and that as well, it would be limited seating, so the classroom will not be at full capacity. And any other course that has to be in person, for example, any of our students that are going to be teachers and they need to be in class to do some type of exercise where the professor needs to, make sure that they're doing something correctly. The majority of our classes will be offered virtually. Like Ms. Romero, majority of the professors will also be required to record their classes in order for them to be available to any and all students who won't be in the classroom. Campus programs are still happening, so I'll put my office's Instagram name in the chat in a little bit, but we are doing summer programming through Instagram. We are doing summer programming through lots of other virtual formats such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, anything that we can get our hands on that is definitely available to our students and our prospective students as well. So make sure that you are attending those. We do not RSVP. I myself have made it my job to record any and all workshops that I do throughout the summer or the fall semester and have it available to our students either via the website or any other format that our students have access to, such as Blackboard or Canvas. So in reality, like Ms. Romero said, being virtual, it's not all that bad if you think about it. Take advantage of it. Jump into these sessions, before maybe you had a class at 7 o'clock, which is why you couldn't be, at the comedy show at 7 o'clock. But for example, UNT Dallas, we're still trying to have those comedy shows and we're still trying to have those fun events for our students for the upcoming semester, even though we're virtual and we're away from you guys. So just make sure that you're still chipping in and, joining into those links to have fun with the rest of them. Show your pretty faces, because I personally miss working with my students. It's very difficult going from talking to a student almost every 30 minutes or every 5 minutes or every other day to not seeing my students at all unless that I'm setting up an office meeting with them and it has to be through Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So take advantage of that. UNT Dallas is also a minority-based institution, so we do a lot of programming based on that as well. So keep a lookout on that. For my parents, la universidad está completamente virtual para el año que viene. Las únicas clases que van a ser en persona son las que tengan que ser en laboratorio o sean completamente requeridas de estar en persona, ya sea que el estudiante está estudiando para ser maestro y tiene que hacer una clase específica para poder pasar ese curso, entonces tendría que ser en persona. La mayoría de nuestros profesores también estarán requeridos a grabar la sesión de la clase y tenerla en algún modo para los estudiantes que no pudieron asistir a la hora que era o algo pasó y tuvieron que perder la clase a las 5 de la tarde. So va a haber una grabación de cada sesión. Y también los programas de nosotros todavía están pasando, estamos totalmente virtuales, pero no quiere decir que no vamos a tener programas donde los estudiantes puedan asistir. Pueden estar por Facebook, por Instagram, por todos esos medios sociales que a nuestros estudiantes les gusta estar, allí estaremos. Así que por favor tomen esa oportunidad de atender estos eventos virtuales. Estamos poniendo mucho de nuestro empeño para seguir asistiendo a nuestros estudiantes lo más posible. Así que los invitamos a todavía atender nuestros eventos. Sé que es un poco diferente estar en Instagram o estar viendo un video o estar en la computadora, pero el chiste es participar y conocer a la gente, conocer a los estudiantes con los que vas a estar en tu misma clase, en tu mismo grado, en lo que sea. Esto va a pasar y si los empiezas a conocer de esta manera virtualmente, cuando los conozcas en persona va a ser una mejor experiencia.
Thank you, Berenice. We're going to go ahead and end actually with Mr. Sanchez. Mr. Durham just emailed me and said his power was out, so he's having trouble connecting, but he sends his gratitude. So, Mr. Sanchez, we will end with you.
Okay, great. Same thing as the other schools, virtual. About 80% of our classes will be virtual, except for the labs and so forth. So, in the interest of time, it's pretty much the exact same as what everyone else is doing. I'm sure everyone at KIP too. We're trying to really almost scramble to see what's going to happen. When are we going to be able to allow students? When are we going to kind of get back to where students can get to where they need to be. With that, though, I really wanted to rephrase that, actually. I think this is an opportunity for all of us and all the students that are on this call, or everybody. This is an opportunity for us to rethink the way we do work, rethink the way we live. And if we just, instead of trying to get back to the way things were, like I said, that's the wrong way to think. Maybe let's think about the way things can be. I think you would ask Ms. Turner about, maybe some words of, whatever to leave them with. I think what Berenice said, visit campuses, I think Jackie said it also. This is an opportunity. You can visit a school in California. They're having virtual events. Go visit, go do all these things. All the students here, apply. Don't worry, can I get in or not? Don't worry about that. Apply. Well, that's my opinion. But I remember working at the university level. Sometimes you don't want to inflate the applications, but still apply. Most institutions have some sort of application fee waiver. They will help you out depending on their situation. Apply. Go out and find out what's going to happen. You're not going to know what's going to happen to you in life until you start to think differently. And so the last words I wanted to leave everybody with is a quote that I can't remember who said it, but all of us seem to really believe that we are stuck in a situation and we can't do anything. This is all I'm allowed to do, or my parents never did anything. Start to change the way you look at things, and the things that you look at change. So thank you. Good luck to all of you guys, all you parents. Thank you guys very much.
Mr. Sánchez también estaba diciendo que las clases, 80% de las clases en Dallas College van a estar virtuales, menos los laboratorios, porque hay ciertas clases que sí tienen que ser en persona. Ellos también están monitoreando la situación para ver si hay algún avance, alguna actualización para que puedan regresar más estudiantes a los diferentes sitios de la escuela. Pero también él quiere decirles a todos los estudiantes y a todos los que estamos en la llamada que lo que estamos pasando es un momento para también que nosotros podamos repensar o ver la situación de una manera diferente. En vez de decir, quiero regresar a cómo estábamos antes, podemos empezar a pensar, quizás podemos hacer cambios dado a la situación que estamos pasando ahorita, que puede mejorar la manera que trabajamos, la manera que estudiamos, la manera que interactuamos con los demás. Él también estaba de acuerdo con lo que dijo Ms. Romero y Ms. Zuniga, que hay muchas oportunidades virtuales que los estudiantes pueden hacer desde su casa. Entonces, busquen esas oportunidades, visiten las universidades que están al otro lado del país, porque están teniendo visitas virtuales, están llamando tours virtuales, que los estudiantes pueden ir y ver cómo es la universidad, aunque no estén ahí físicamente. Y también lo último que dijo Mr. Sánchez es que tienen que cambiar la manera que piensan. Si los estudiantes deben aplicar a donde quiera que ellos quieran, y también no deben de detener sus metas por lo que sus padres han vivido, porque la gente cercana a ellos han vivido, sino que tienen que ver las posibilidades que están enfrente de ellos.
Just wow. Okay, let me make sure I'm sharing. Oh, I'm sharing my email, not what I need. Give me a second. This is what happens.
I'm back. I'm so sorry. My electricity faded out, went out, and
You're back. Awesome.
Yeah.
Could you end us on with some wise words? And that would be that. We talked about campuses being virtual, and I'm sure that most campuses are at the moment. So if you could, Mr. Yu, end us with some wise words.
Okay, yes. More importantly, no matter what your circumstances, just make sure that you ultimately, every student needs to do their research on institutions, and don't necessarily box yourself into one particular type of university. Apply to different ones. Apply to, some of the private 4 years. Apply to SMU. Apply to Prairie View. apply to UNT, apply to all different types of universities, because really the college admissions process is about casting a wide net. The wider the net that you cast, the greater the probability that you're going to will in a couple of fish. And no matter what your circumstance is, just understand and know that really, truly, you can do this. Everybody on this panel, I'm pretty sure, had at one point in time doubted themselves in the college admissions process, doubted themselves in freshman year, doubted themselves when they got into those core classes, and doubted themselves probably that last semester right before graduation. It is okay. Many have done it. You will make it through. We can promise you. Don't be afraid to apply. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And the biggest difference, and I love what the KIPP schools do, because they do a really good job of preparing students, where I don't think that maybe high school does the best job of preparing students, because KIPP, what they do is they prepare you for, hey, which is what you see in college. You have to go out and seek the resource. You have to go out and seek the assistance, because college isn't necessarily going to be about, hey, okay, maybe at an institution like Prairie View, a teacher's going to reach out and say, hey, take you under my wing, let me get you the help. But if you are struggling and you come into those moments where you doubt yourself, don't wait until a week before the exam. Don't wait till a week before the semester ends. So with that being said, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the students of KIPP, and I look forward if there's anything I can do to help facilitate the process, but not even help facilitate the process to Prairie View, just to answer questions about the college admissions process, period. I am absolutely excited to help.
Un poquito acerca de lo que acaba de decir Mr. Hugh. Él también está de acuerdo que los estudiantes deben aplicar a una variedad de escuelas, apliquen privada, pública, colegio comunitario, cualquiera escuela que le llame la atención, apliquen. No tengan miedo, todos tenemos dudas, especialmente si es un proceso nuevo, si es la primera o el primero en su familia en ir a la universidad o buscar algo diferente después de la high school. Es normal sentir ese miedo, pero no tengan miedo, no se bajen la moral. Si llegan a tener dudas o no entienden lo que están haciendo, hagan preguntas. Hay equipos enteros que ese es el enfoque de su trabajo, ayudar a los estudiantes que vienen entrando. Entonces los estudiantes, si tienen alguna pregunta, háganla, y así no dejan todo para última hora. Si tienen alguna duda, necesitan ayuda en algo, hay gente que les puede ayudar. Y Mr. Hugh también dijo que él está disponible para responder cualquier pregunta, ya sea acerca de la universidad que representa o ya hablando del proceso universitario.
Thanks so much. Can we please give our esteemed panelists some shine? Students, if you can go off of mute or if you can drop in the chat, we are just so grateful for your expertise and for you taking time out of your work day to meet with us and answer our questions. We are so grateful. So at this time, we are going to transition to our next part of our presentation. Students, continue to show some love. Please know that we will be in touch, and you have really just inspired our students and our families to really keep the end goal in mind. You helped amplify our goal of having a Mamba mantra and a Mamba mentality, so we are forever grateful for you. We're going to give you your time back as well. I'm pretty sure you're hungry. So students and parents, this is when we stay on the line, and our esteemed panelists, this is when you bid us adieu. Please know that I will be in touch, and we appreciate y'all so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, I'm going to share my screen in a bit.
Students, just so y'all know, a lot of the panelists were saying that they're more than happy to talk to y'all if you have any additional questions specifically for their schools. So reach out to your KTC counselor if you want to speak to somebody specifically, and we'll get you in touch with them. But they're all great, super friendly, and they have, as y'all can tell, a lot of knowledge. So take advantage of it, ask questions.
Yes. We can definitely share that information with y'all.
Yes. I was just gonna add, agreed, and they are also gonna remember you. And you know, a lot of them are admission counselors, so just take an opportunity to build that connection. I remember from our alumni panelists, they shared how much advisors help them through different stages, and sometimes they connect them to scholarships. So that's another great resource to have. And while Ms. Turner pulls up the PowerPoint, I just want to recommend everybody to like get up, take a stretch. It's
Yes,
an hour
please.
and so I will model, just like stretch the legs and then come back.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, please stretch. My screen is not letting me be great, so give me like 2 seconds in the meantime. If anyone wants to come off mute and say like, what did you learn? What was helpful as I get up this presentation? We'll be done no later than like 8-ish. So, but we would love to hear from y'all during this time.
If you're really shy, you can also chat in. You can read those as well.
Y'all making us work for it, huh? It's fine. Okay, can y'all see my screen? Okay, perfect. Awesome sauce. Yes, so that was amazing. I'm super appreciative of our speakers for them taking time out of their schedules to meet with us. So I hope that you all learned something and gained some insight, and families, I hope that you all did the same. We are going to, for time's sake, we're going to go ahead and go to the next part of our presentation. We won't be viewing our student video today. We're going to send that to you in an email later on, just so we can stay on schedule. But we do need you to participate at this point. Once you're done with this part of the presentation, our live raffle will take place. We have not forgotten. We have plenty of gifts to give out, but you have to participate first. What's going to happen next? I think that Ms. Gudiel is going to be translating this part of the presentation, or is it going to be Ms. Sandoval? Okay, so what we're going to do right now, students, lucky for you, you don't have to turn your camera on at this point. What I need you to do is take out your phone. If you're on your phone, open up another tab. But take out your phone, and I want you to go to applytexas.org. We are going to create your profile to apply for colleges in Texas, okay? And again, we're not applying to any schools today. Today was just to get you to get some insight from colleges, but today we want your application profile to be made. It doesn't take long at all, but we want to walk you through this so that you can, if you have questions, we can answer them on site. So go to applytexas.org. You're going to follow me along on your computer or phone to create your application. And again, translations will be happening as we go through this. It's work time. You can turn your camera off, but I do want you to follow along and come back so that we can go to the next part of the presentation.
Para mis papás, en estos momentos vamos a hacer una cuenta en Apply Texas para los estudiantes. So Ms. Turner les va a estar enseñando en cómo ir a este sitio de internet y hacer su cuenta. Entonces, en estos momentos, los estudiantes van a necesitar sacar su teléfono o otra página en la computadora para empezar a hacer la cuenta en Apply Texas. So, gracias por su paciencia.
Okay. Let's see if it goes. Okay, so I'm going to applytexas.org. And since I don't have an account just yet, I'm going to create my free account now. So once you go to applytexas.org, where you see this red asterisk, these are the required fields. These are the fields that we have to fill out, and all of this information is about you, so hopefully you should know it.
Donde ven los asteriscos, los estudiantes tienen que poner esas cosas porque son necesarias. No pueden hacer su cuenta si no ponen donde están los rojos asteriscos. Ahorita Ms. Turner empezó escribiendo su información, nombre, fecha de nacimiento, dónde nació. Pero es muy importante poner atención a los asteriscos rojos porque esa información es necesaria.
So what I want to do first, I see that the first question says privacy policy and it has a red asterisk. I'm going to check this box off. By doing so, it lets the website know that we understand the information that we're sharing and that we are we're under the age of 16. If we are, the parents will have to read this information as well. But please check this box off first.
La primera pregunta es sobre la privacidad. Si el estudiante es menor de 16 años, el papá tiene que leer esto y hacer esta aplicación con ellos, pero si son mayores de 16 años, lo pueden hacer los estudiantes solos.
Perfect. And I just input my last name is Turner. My first name is Jermaine. So I don't have to worry about this suffix part. Date of birth has the next red asterisk. Luckily, my birthday just passed. I wonder if y'all can now count how old I am. My birthday was July 27th, and I was born in 1990. Ooh, that hurt. 1990. I'm going to type that in if it lets me. Oh, it does not. Clear. Let me see. Aha, there we go. So my place of birth, I was not born in Dallas, but I'm going to say that I was for this purpose, since this is for Texas. The state is Texas, and when it says country, it's already going to have US, so you don't have to worry about changing anything there. My grade level, this is important. You don't want to say that you're an 11th grader just because school hasn't started yet technically. You, my friends, are 12th grade students.
Esto es muy importante cuando pide en qué grado está. Es muy importante que pongan el 12, aunque todavía no empiecen la escuela, van a ir al 12, so tienen que poner que están en el 12.
And this question also has an asterisk. This is trying to question your citizenship. Most of our students are US citizens, so you can select yes. If you select no, there will be other clarifying questions that you can fill out so that you can answer those questions correctly. It does not prohibit you from applying to college. They will just want to gather more information. But since I am a US citizen, I'm going to go ahead and select yes.
En este espacio les pregunta sobre su ciudadanía. Es muy importante poner sí o no. No se preocupe, esto no tiene nada que ver con la solicitud, nada más quieren más información sobre el estudiante. So, si ponen no, van a aparecer más preguntas.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and put my work email there, which many of you all should have because we email you all the time. But just in case you need to know it by heart, here you go.
Ms. Turner, can you go back to the citizenship? I just want to make sure we kind of point out the part that says like you are a Texas resident or you lived in Texas for the past 3 years, which qualifies our kiddos.
Yes.
Tuition.
Yes, ma'am. So this part here that Ms. Moore pointed out states if you are a Texas resident, if you've lived here for the past 12 years, you will be considered a Texas resident. So you don't have to worry about that. So if you're like, oh, I came at a later, if you've been here 12 years, you will select that I am a Texas resident. And this is important to make sure that you qualify for the money that you need and that your application information is correct.
I'm not seeing that part on the screen. Do you need to scroll up the Texas resident part? Because this is still talking about citizenship and country and then permanent resident. It might be another part, Ms. Moore.
I think it is another part.
Yeah. So, en esta parte, si pone no, nada más va a preguntar si es un residente permanente.
Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so I put my email address, my address, unless you want to drop me off a gift. My birthday happened a couple days ago. There you go. I'll leave that there. I don't have to worry about the second part because my current street address is where I actually reside. So you only fill this out if it's different from this information above here. This is important because the address that you put is how colleges will be communicating with you. This is how they send you information.
En esta parte ponen la dirección. Si la dirección permanente es la misma donde recibe correo, no tiene que ponerla 2 veces, nada más la pone una vez, pero es importante que la revise, la ponga correctamente para que les llegue a cualquier información que los colegios estén mandando a sus correos.
So I went ahead and put my contact information, my work number goes there. I only put again where the red star is located. My emergency contact is super important because this is who is going to, colleges will contact in case they cannot get in touch with you. And their address is important as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put my mom's information.
Le está también pidiendo su información de contacto, como su número de teléfono, pero también está pidiendo el contacto de una persona que puedan contactar en caso de una emergencia. So, Ms. Turner aquí está poniendo la información de su mamá.
For the ethnicity and race part, this is a question that most students get stuck on a little bit. I'm going to select, are you Hispanic or Latino? I am not. But for our students that do identify as Hispanic or Latinx, this is where you would say yes, but this qualifies for me. What's important though is in this section, since I find my race that they name, I'm going to select Black or African American. For students that are not Black or African American, you would have to select white. This is how the government identifies our students that are Hispanic or Latinx. So don't get confused on this question. We know that you don't identify as white, but for the purposes of completing this application, this is the part that you would fill out.
En esta parte está pidiendo la etnicidad y raza. La primera pregunta era si identifican como hispano y ponen sí o no, pero luego cuando bajan a la raza van a ver que no está la opción de hispanos, o pueden escoger la que ustedes realmente sientan, aunque sabemos que quizás no identifican con otra raza que está aquí, muchas veces los estudiantes ponen blanco.
Lastly, yes, ma'am.
If I identify with more than one race, can I choose more than one, or does it only let you choose one?
To my knowledge, it lets you only choose, or you can choose more than one. Yes, so thanks, Ms. Moore. If you identify with more than one race, you can select as many as you see fit. And this just helps them know how many students from what demographic are applying to their institutions. But if you identify as more than one race, please feel free to select all of those that apply.
Pueden escoger más de una raza. Esto solamente ayuda a la universidad a ver las demográficas de los estudiantes que quieren asistir a su universidad.
It might also make you eligible for some scholarships that are based on race identity.
También a veces los hace calificar para becas que están ofreciendo las universidades a estudiantes de esas razas. Y la última cosa que hizo Ms. Turner es hizo una contraseña y va a guardar su perfil. Y ya ahorita parece que no puso la ciudad, solo regresó. Pero una vez que termine toda la aplicación, puede guardar su perfil y la cuenta está lista para hacer las aplicaciones.
So one good thing about Apply Texas, if you leave anything blank, they will let you know. You cannot submit your application until you go back. So it says that I left my contact number for my mom empty. So let me go back and input that number. I've already selected my password. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my phone number for here. It will be my mom's, but I'm just going to put my number. Password is already, everything's good. Select that I am not a robot. Save profile. I officially have an application portal for Apply Texas.
Ms. Turner oficialmente tiene su perfil para Apply Texas y como vieron no la dejaba guardar hasta que terminara cualquier cosa que le faltaba.
The last thing I'm going to show is, since I made this account, I'm going to find somewhere to put this information. Like, where am I going to save my username and password? The good thing about Apply Texas is that your username is your email. So the email that you use, which is an email that you check regularly, which is the email that we use to send you information, that's the email that you should use for this. Today, we won't go over every portion of this section, but know that whenever you do decide to apply, your applications will be here. And this is where you can apply to both 2-year and 4-year applications for private and public schools in the state of Texas.
Algo muy importante es que hay que guardar esa contraseña y ese username. Para Apply Texas, el username es solamente el correo electrónico que usaron, pero es muy, muy importante guardar las contraseñas para que tengan acceso cuando quieran hacer sus solicitudes. Apply Texas se usa para escuelas públicas en el estado de Texas.
And before I input my password, Apply Texas will send you a verification email, which is why it's important for you to put the correct email saying, hey, welcome, you are receiving this message because you recently created an account. Once you do that, you will have to click on a link to verify that you did create that account, and then your account will be active.
Es muy importante revisar su correo después de hacer el perfil porque les va a llegar un correo electrónico para verificar su cuenta. Entonces tienen que verificarla para poder usar la cuenta.
So if I needed to find a place to save my passwords and I talked to my KTC advisor, I would probably be having the option to save it in something that looks a bit like this or on your notes. But for today's purposes, we're going to use this handy dandy tracker. So my name is Ms. Turner. I'm going to say I have a 4.0 because it's me. I'm not going to worry about filling out the rest of this information in terms of testing, but I will locate where it says Apply Texas, username ID. I copied and pasted my username and handy dandy, there you go.
Los estudiantes tienen una opción de usar este documento que hicimos nosotros las consejeras para ellos, para guardar sus contraseñas, pero ellos también tienen la opción de usar cualquier documento que tengan ellos para guardarlas o sus notas en el teléfono, pero si gustan pueden pedir a la consejera este documento y aquí pueden guardar sus contraseñas para diferentes cuentas.
Don't forget your password, Miss Turner.
Oh, yes. Thank you. This is the common thank you, Ms. Moore. So I thought that I was good to go and went on about my day, which some students can typically do. It's important because we also wrote a space for you to write down your password. And my password.
It's okay. She didn't want to show us, Ms. Moore. It's a password.
Right? This is private information.
They're going to go apply for her. No.
Private. It's okay, but because they don't have my email password. Okay, now that we have that there,
can we get
it's time for the raffle.
Chats? Like, did y'all successfully?
Yes, let's give a thumbs up. Do we know, are we good? You have questions?
Can you chat in if you created an Apply Texas account like Miss Turner did?
Or if you had one already, or if you're waiting. Okay. Thank you, Yadira.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Lauren. All right. Well, the time you've been waiting for. No, I'm kidding. The panelists were the best, amazing. Like, they were awesome. We are so blessed to have 4 amazing panelists. Obviously, they were just awesome. But raffle time. So I just need to go over a few rules. I learned this last year. Rules are important so that you are aware of what's happening. As we do this raffle, it is completely random. I'll be using something called Rule of Names. So I'll share my screen momentarily. But the prizes tonight will be 2 $25 Amazon gift cards and then 1 $250 scholarship, which you have a choice. You can tell me, hey, Ms. Gudiel, I want to redeem it now, which means 4 to 6 weeks, because we do have to give Kip all the paperwork and there's processing time for that. But within 4 to 6 weeks, you should get the check to your mailbox. Or you can be, Ms. Gudiel, I'm going to save it for when it's closer to college. So you can also redeem it April 2021, which means you'll get it at the end of April, right before you're off to college and making your decision. So you must be present to win. So if you joined the call and then dropped, you won't be eligible. So if I accidentally get a name and you're no longer on the call, that means, you can only win once today. So if you win an Amazon gift card, unfortunately, you're no longer eligible for the scholarship. So we're just going to go in order. Amazon, scholarship. We got to save the big one for last. Do stay online after the meeting, because I have to either collect an email from you to send the gift card to, or for the scholarship check, there's a few more things I will need from you, like a mailing address, and some other things we'll need for accounting. But I wanted to share some things with you. We will be doing we're going to send a form for you. Thanks, Ms. Moore. Sorry, you're talking about Apply Texas. But I wanted to share with you that we will be having more scholarship raffles, and you're eligible to win again. So let's pretend student Leah, we're going to say Leah wins. She wins today, $250. And she wins again $250 in December. That means she will get 2 $250 checks. May the luck be with you. If you attend $10 events, that might happen to you. You might be the lucky winner that wins all 4 and you get $1,000. And trust me, that can pay for books. That can pay a ticket to wherever you're going for college. So yes, you might only win once today, but you can win more than once throughout the school year. Okay, so I know that was a lot, but I just wanted to make sure you all understood. So let me share my screen so you can see this wheel. I am not choosing favorites. This will be completely random. Let me share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that? If you do not see your name on here, this is the chance to chat it in. You have exactly 30 seconds. Chat it in if you do not see your name here.
This is for the $25 Amazon gift card, right?
This is for everything right now, right? Well, I'm starting with the Amazon gift card, but yes. Okay. Let me know if you do not see your name before I spin the magic wheel. I'm giving y'all 10, 9,
Speak now, if ever hold
8,
your peace.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, awesome. Let's spin the wheel. Let me make this full screen. La 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 la, and we're gonna spin $25 Amazon gift card. Goes to Tanasia. Okay, so like I said, you can just chat in your email for me and I'll be sure to send it to that email, okay? Congratulations, Tanasia. That means if your name gets spinned again, you're not eligible, okay? So if for some reason it goes to your name again, you won't be eligible. Can only win once today. All right, next $25 gift card. Thomas, congratulations. Same
My daughters
thing.
are on it. Yes.
Make sure to give me your email, please. Again, Thomas, if your name gets pulled again, you're not eligible. All right, drum roll for our one and only first $250 scholarship that you may use for any college expenses that may come up. Ready, set, go. Ooh. Faith!
Woo! Go Faith!
All right, Faith. Like I said, I'm going to drop a link. Well, actually, drop your email. I'm going to send you a link with more information that I need so that we can make sure to get that check to you. Okay? Awesome, y'all. Well, that is our raffle. I know we have some announcement we want to share with you all. Thanks so much for being here. Like I said, our panelists were very delighted to see students on the call. Awesome.
Yes, shout out to our winners. See what happens when you join a KCC event. It's gifts everywhere. One is to show Kobe showing his pride on winning. So shout out to the students that won because they're all mine. Anyway, so our announcements. We have made it to the final part of the presentation. Pat on your back if you stayed the entire time because this was amazing. So proud. So a couple of announcements. Class of 2021, which is you, we have a handy dandy gift for you. We're not going to tell you what it is, but just know that it's going to be helpful this year whenever we are talking about events so that you can stay informed, okay? Once you sign up for your senior one-on-one, which I'll talk about in a little bit, we will confirm your address so that we can send it to you, okay? The second thing is testing. A lot of our professionals today spoke a lot about it. Testing is still happening. ACT and SAT waivers have been ordered, students, so please know. I only have about 17-ish, like 17 and a half ACT waivers. So if you want to take the ACT for the September 12th date, registration actually opens up today. So when you get off the call, you can go online, create an account, and register today, okay, if you are interested. The fee waivers, for students that don't know, the fee waivers waive the fee for the test. These tests cost money. But luckily for you, we provide free fee waivers so that you don't have to worry about the cost at all. Again, I have about 17 waivers already for the ACT. Please let your KTC advisor know if you would like to receive one to take the September 12th date. Today is the beginning of the registration deadline, okay? For those that want to take the SAT, the waivers have been ordered. We are waiting on them. Team, they're sending them to my house so I can make sure that we get them. So when I get them, I will let the team know. But if you are interested, just know that we have 2 tests coming up. August 26th is the deadline for the first SAT test of the school year. And that date is September 26th. So please know that your KTC advisors will be reaching out to you about that. But I just want to put that on your radar. Last and certainly not least, senior one-on-one signups. So many students on this call joined us for your end of year junior check-in. So now, because you're seniors, we get to have a senior one-on-one sign up. And at this meeting, it's going to be about an hour-long max where you get a chance to talk individually, not as a group session like we did with our junior reviews, but individually with your KTC advisor. So either myself, Ms. Sandoval, or Ms. Guthiel, about what your plan is after high school. We kind of touched a little bit on it during the end of junior year conversation, but now this is the time to really figure out, where does Ms. Turner see herself in 9 months? Because we only have 9 months until school is over, right? So that is going to be required for each student. So every student on here is going to sign up for that meeting. Advisors, if you have your Calendly link, if you could drop your link in the chat, that would be great. If not, students, your advisor will send information out to you so that you can sign up. Meetings happen. They start on Monday. So before school, we are starting now, right? We want to get ahead of the game. So to get a good start, we're going to start these senior one-on-one conversations now. Students, just like last time, go on the link, see what time works for you, and you know, allocate that time to talk with your advisor to see how we can really make this plan, your vision happen. I'm going to drop in my chat in the link in a little bit.
Para
But,
mis papás, oh, let me translate that other slide, please. Thank you.
Yes.
Para mis papás, anuncios, tenemos unos regalitos para nuestros estudiantes, pero tienen que primero hacer su junta de seniors, último año de escuela, ¿verdad? Con su consejera de KIP. Eso es muy importante que tengan esa junta con la consejera y después le vamos a mandar su regalito. También tenemos waivers, que es para que puedan tomar el examen ACT o ACT gratis, pero estos son exámenes para admisión universitarias. Nada más tenemos como 17 para el ACT y ese examen es el 12 de septiembre. Registraciones abrieron hoy. Estamos esperando que nos manden por correo los waivers para el SAT. Estos waivers, como les dije, es para que puedan tomar el examen completamente gratis. O si están interesados sus hijos, es importante que nos dejen saber para que le demos uno de esos waivers. Y también tenemos reuniones con estudiantes para platicar sobre sus planes en 9 meses, ¿verdad? Cuando terminen la preparatoria. En estas reuniones ustedes están invitados. Queremos hablar con los estudiantes, pero si ustedes están disponibles también pueden asistir. En el chat tenemos los enlaces para que escojan un horario que funcione para ustedes y para su estudiante, para reunirse con nosotros 1 hora completito para ustedes, para platicar todo sobre este último año escolar y sobre los planes que tengan para después de escuela.
Thanks so much, Ms. Goudia. Okay, students, that's it.